Breaking news, the Cardinals locking up Kyler Murray on an extension, keeping him with the club through the 28th season, according to our Jonathan Jones. A 5-year extension worth $230.5 million. $160 million of that is guaranteed. And in terms of average annual value, it's second in the NFL behind only Aaron Rodgers, who's making just over $50 million a year. Kyler Murray would be making just over $46 million a year. Wow. All right, let's bring in a couple of our very best. Scott Pioli, front office perspective. Danny Kannell, former NFL quarterback. Scott, I want to start with you because these are eye-popping numbers and really a sign of the times where front offices maybe have to take a bit of a chance with the way these contracts and these holdouts come up. What do you think of what the Cardinals are going to give Kyler?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Again, I think you mentioned it, that it's more of a sign of the times than it is eye-popping. Because let's look at it this way. I believe we're now up to, with Kyler, this will be the 8th quarterback in the National Football League, averaging over $40 million a year. And here's what's happening. High tides raise all boats. So what the owners know is the fact that the gambling money that's coming in, the new TV contracts, all of the new money that's coming in, they know what they can spend moving forward. So what we're seeing is contracts. There's always going to be record-setting contracts. We say this every couple of years that, oh my gosh, look at how much it's gone up. So to see this happen to a starting NFL quarterback that has a perception that he can be good or can be very good, I'm not totally surprised. But now what I'll say is, to me, I sure hope Kyler Murray earns this money, because right now he has been a good and at times very good performer. He has not been a great leader, and for that position, when you want to pay a premium at that position or for that player, they have to do more than just handle the football from the center. They have to be a leader. They have to be a great decision maker, but they need to be the culture setter for the team. That's what championship quarterbacks do. And again, this is becoming, I said this a couple of weeks ago, that when we hit the 7 quarterbacks that were $40 million a year players, I said within 2 seasons, more than half the league's quarterbacks will be earning over $40 million. This is going to be more the norm. This is going to be a relative standard. So to me, it's not that eye-popping. I get it. However, going to the point of the player that Kyler has been thus far, he has to do an awful lot to earn this money because he hasn't done it up to this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying, Scott, and I might lean a little bit even more towards does this make the most sense for the Arizona Cardinals' future as a franchise? I think this contract could hold them back, especially, there is a time, like when your time is up, if you're a franchise quarterback, a guy like a Dak Prescott who had to wait a long time to get his deal, but when he did, became one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. It kind of, that's the way it works. And it doesn't matter if you're the best quarterback or a top 5 or even a top 10 quarterback. If you're in that conversation, you're going to get the richest contract that's out there. Well, that's with quarterbacks that have waited. I mean, he's only played 3 years. I would have liked to seen them say, you know what, we want to see one more year. Let's just make sure about this. And I know there's a risk there. They might have to pay him a little bit more in another year, but I probably would have taken that risk if I was the Arizona Cardinals. I hear the same things too about leadership. Does he have what it takes to put this team on his back? We've seen second half collapses, especially this past year without a DeAndre Hopkins when his play declined as well. Christian Kirk's no longer there. I think this is a little bit of a perplexing move by the Arizona Cardinals. I get that quarterbacks get all the money and they're supposed to be paid, but those quarterbacks usually don't come with as many questions as Kyler Murray has.
And Scott, you talked about how half of the league is going to have $40 million a year contracts, at least half the quarterbacks anyway. How is this going to impact what Lamar Jackson and his mom are talking to the Baltimore Ravens about?
I think this is part of the reason that Lamar is sitting and waiting. He's a confident player, and I love his confidence because he knows that the value or his dollars aren't going to go backwards. So the longer he waits, even if it's a month, 2 months, there's going to be a higher premium. He's taking a chance on himself. He's taking a chance on making sure that he doesn't get injured. However, I would say this, even if he does get injured, he already knows what the floor of his salary is going to be. As these numbers keep coming in and players keep getting paid and he's the next to get paid, it's only going to be higher tomorrow than what it would be today.
I don't know. I think Lamar Jackson might be a little bit miffed at this, like saying, hey, this is getting a little bit ridiculous. It's time to pay me. And I love the fact that he bets on himself, but you're seeing somebody who's got an MVP behind his name. We're just talking about Kyler Murray and the lack of a resume that he has. Lamar Jackson has done a boatload more. He's brought his team to the playoffs, and I know the playoff success hasn't been there, but this is a player who's accomplished a lot more. And I do think if there's a way to spin it, if you're Lamar Jackson, is to say, well, that just means I'm going to get paid that much more because he's got a better resume and should command a higher salary with more guaranteed money. But I do think there's always that kind of chip on your shoulder of, man, all these other teams are taking care of their guys. Why aren't you taking care of me? I just wonder if that's kind of soiled any of the relationship between him and the front office.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, 5 wins his first season, then a 500 record in last season. As a starter, he was 9-5. I know win-loss record isn't a quarterback stat, but that's really how you're measured sometimes. It's just been what's happened at the end of the season between he and his head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, that have really soured some people on what they could potentially be. But he is getting paid by the Arizona Cardinals. Danny Kannell and Scott Pioli with us here as Kyler Murray gets over $46 million a year. This is what I'm talking about. First 7 starts last season, 7-0. Completion percentage that led the NFL. Final 8 starts, the team was 2-6. Completion percentage was way down. The touchdowns were way down, and so was the passer rating.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.